Hello, I am Miranda Rivera. I'm with ProMiles Software. We are the software vendor for ODOT. We created the Ohio Hauling Permit System, which is also known as OHPS. The new system offers a lot of online forms, so we're moving away from manually faxing forms. You can download your permits directly from the website. You can fax your permits directly from the website, and you can email them out from the website. If you have not logged into the new system yet, first you need to claim your account. I'll walk through claiming the account, but if you have any questions after the video, you can click on the OHPS user tutorial video, OHPS customer user guide, and we also have a link for how to claim your account. I'm going to go to our develop environment to do this, but first you would click on the claim your accounts link, and then you would select whether you are a carrier or a permit service, and then you have to enter 2 permit numbers that were issued before June 1st of 2020. Whenever you're entering your permit numbers, please remember that the system will not accept the end of the permit number that has the RAV-1. You can enter the permit numbers with the OH or without the OH, and the system will accept it. So once you enter your permit numbers, you'll click Validate Number. If the account has not been claimed, you'll get the green X's, and then the system will tell you that a match was found, so you'll click OK to claim the account. Once you click the Claim Your Account button, your company information from the old system will be brought up. Any fields with asterisks beside them must be completed. You have to select a delivery method. So fax means every time you order a permit or form or notification goes out, it will be faxed to you. Web download means permits can be pulled directly from the website, and email means that permits will be emailed by default to you. If you have not created an OHID yet, you can do it through this also by clicking on the click here to create your OHID account. The OHID portal will be open, and you'll have to enter all the information to create the OHID. So once all your fields are complete, you'll click I agree, and you'll click Next. If you enter the wrong thing for the verification, you have to correct it, and then the system will let you continue. So we'll try again. And then it'll bring you to the screen where you create your username and your password. Please remember that the username you enter here is the username that you're going to want to enter when you claim your account. Otherwise, you will not be able to log in. You can choose more than one password recovery method, or you can choose one. And once your account has been created, you'll get the success. And we'll close this window. We'll return to our claim account screen that we were working on, and we'll enter our name, and the OHID we just created. And then we'll click Submit. So my account has been claimed. I now have a login, and I can log in as a customer. We'll go ahead and leave our development environment, and we'll go back to production. So once you've created your OHID, you've claimed your account, you'll log in as a customer. When you select login as a customer, your OHIP login will pop up and you'll click login and you'll be brought to your company dashboard. Once you're on your company dashboard, we'll go ahead and do a rundown of the administrative links. I'll click menu and we'll start with company data. Company data is your company information. If your company has a US DOT number, the name and the DBA will be pulled automatically. You can edit your phone number, you can edit the email address, and anytime you change anything, just make sure you click update. If you have insurance on file, the expiration date will be listed here, or it will be listed as until canceled. And if you want to change your delivery method from email, this is where you would do that also. At the bottom, you have company assets, contacts, addresses, terminals, users, and vehicles. Contacts are company contacts that the permit office may need to talk to directly, so this is a good place to enter their information. You can edit an existing contact and update it, or you can create a new contact, and then you'll select the contact type, whether it's business or permitting. Addresses. Right now, the system has the address that was pulled from the old system, so this is where you can edit it and update it if you need to. If you have terminals, different locations where your permits are issued out of, you can enter them here and edit them here. If you don't have terminals, you can just leave it blank. Users are here. You can edit your existing users, and this is where you will enter new users. Each user in the system has to have their own OHID, or you end up sharing one OHID with everybody. So it's advised that you create one for each user, and then whenever they're ready to log in the system, you'll put in their first name, their last name, their OHID username, and then you'll select the user type. So the first user created is automatically the administrator, and then your other user type is user. This user does not have the ability to update company data or make any changes or add any other users. They can only edit their own information. If you wanted to add a new user, you would just click the new button and you would put in all their information. Vehicles. This is your vehicle inventory list. If you have an inventory list uploaded already in the system, you can edit vehicles. You can add new vehicles here, but this only adds them one at a time. There is another way to import a spreadsheet if you need to. And then to see your vehicles that are in your inventory currently, you can click on this Excel link and it will open up an Excel document with all of your vehicles that are currently in the system. Whenever you pull that list from the system, this is what it will look like in the Excel sheet. The system allows you to return to the company dashboard by clicking the home button from any screen. We'll go ahead and go back to admin links and we'll go to escrow. If you do not have an escrow set up in the system, this is where you would do it. If it's not set up, you'll get an attest statement with a message and you'll check the box and say, I accept, and that's how you start your escrow. Companies can make a deposit to their escrow from here with a credit card. They can generate a report. So if you needed to reconcile for a month, you could just do that from here also. And this is what the statement looks like. All your recent transactions are listed here as well. And if you wanted to mail in a check, the escrow deposit form is right there also. We'll go back to the menu button. The next link is the OHPS Customer User Guide. This user guide can also be pulled from the login page, but it's a step-by-step manual on how to do things within the system. You can print it out from here and keep it close to you, or you can just refer to it as needed. Next would be the OS1A form. This you can print out also from the system directly. Pretrip Routing is next. In our other systems, this is known as bid route. It is just a way to get an idea based on your dimensions what route the system will give you. Keep in mind, since axle weights and spacings are not being entered on the screen, if your permit is going to require bridge review or have any crawls on it, that's not going to be listed here, and that will affect your route. So we'll go ahead and select an origin, and we'll select a destination, and we'll go into routing in more detail later. And we'll go ahead and validate and run. And you can see that the system has generated a route based on the dimensions I entered. Please keep in mind that this is only a suggested route of travel. It's not a permit, and it's not a valid route of travel because there are no actual dimensions in there, and it's not actually the permit application. It's just a bid route. Back to the admin links. Next, we have reports. This is an option for customers to generate a report based on payment method, payment types, date, and it's just there to help reconcile. Next is route surveys. If a route survey is required for your permit, it's up to the permit tech reviewing and issuing your permit as to whether or not they think that one will be needed based on your dimensions. From the route survey screen on the customer dashboard, this is where you will pull that route survey form from to reprint it if you need to, and this is also where you'll upload that route survey form. Next is saved trips. These are trips that customers can save every time if it's a trip you travel a lot where you have to use a lot of via points to get the route to go the way you want. You can modify or delete saved trips from here. You have to be an administrative user though within the company. Otherwise you won't have the ability to do this. You'll only be able to load trips. And also remember that saved trips are within the company, not just one user. So if you have a large company and you delete a saved trip, it might be one that someone else at a different terminal could be using. You can also edit the name from here. Next will be the shopping cart. There are two different ways to get to the shopping cart. You can either do it from the dashboard or from the shopping cart link. If there are permits in the shopping cart, you can select the pay for all box, and this will select all of them, and then there will be a payment option here. If you wanted to cancel a permit or view the permit details, you could also do that from here. I went ahead and put a permit in our shopping cart real quick so we could see it. If I click pay, I'll have my pay now button here. If I wanted to view the permit details, I would click on that button. And this would display my permit ID number, my permit type, my vehicle, any changes that were made, any docs that were uploaded associated to this permit, any fees. There are no special items for this one. If a payment were made on this permit, it would also be here. Any notes that were within this permit would display here also. This is a blanket, so there is no route. Any conditions that are going to print on my permit are also listed here, and there are no chats used in OHPS, so that's going to remain blank. So from my shopping cart, next is vehicle import. This is an option for customers to upload a spreadsheet or a comma-separated value document that lists all of your vehicles in one movement instead of entering them individually from the company data. So you would just locate your file on your computer and upload it. Let me go ahead and go over the company dashboard. This section here is your permit queue. This lists any permits that you may have pending, you may have issued. You can print any issued permits out by clicking on the permit link. This opens up the PDF for you to print out right away. You also have the ability to view the permit details. If I copy the permit, it's going to copy my permit and hold all the information from the previous one. Please note that you cannot copy legacy permits. Those are permits that are pulled in from the old system. But once you issue a permit in OHPS, you will be able to copy that one going forward. Or you can request an amend from the company dashboard. If you wanted to change a plate or part of your route, you would click Request Amend. You would have to put in the information that you want to change. So if I wanted to change my plate, I would have to put in change trailer plate to this or whatever I wanted it to be, and I would click Submit. That would send my permit to the permit office, and it'll sit in a queue where they work the amends as they come in throughout the day. Another thing to keep in mind about the company dashboard is these are links, and you can click on the link to sort your permits by type, by the submitted date, by the status of the permit, by the expiration date, and every permit has an action. If your permit has a status of unfinished, that means that the permit has not been submitted to the permit office, or you have not completed the permit ordering process to get the permit issued. So you would click Select and Resume Permit or Cancel Permit to complete it or to cancel it and remove it from your dashboard. You can search for different permits on your dashboard by clicking the search button and selecting a parameter such as permit type. If there are none, it won't display any. You can do permit ID number, vehicle, issue date, start date. All of those are options. Refresh will refresh your dashboard to how it was originally. Every circle with a question mark in it is a help. So anytime you hover over it, it'll display information for you. If you need more detailed information, you can click the Help button at the top of the screen on any page, and it'll open up the Help window. Also, from the company dashboard, you have your shopping cart here. If there are no permits in your shopping cart, this will display a 0. This is a summary, so if I wanted to pay for all my permits now, I could just click this link here, and then it takes me straight to the payment process for this one permit in my cart. And I'll select my payment method as Escrow, and then once I click Submit, my permit gets issued, and I can print it out right away. If I selected a delivery method of email, it gets emailed also right away. I can copy the permit too. I can click Order New Permit, and this just takes me back to the permit ordering process to start a new permit. We'll go ahead and go back home. The next part of the dashboard I want to go over is messages. Any messages that ODOT has for the haulers, they'll be displayed here. Statistics are number of permits issued, permits self-issued, your escrow balance, and then your insurance is also right here when it expires. We'll go ahead and start a new permit. If you don't know what kind of permit you need, you can click I need help choosing the permit, and this will take you through our permit wizard. If you know what permit you need, you can select I know which permit I need. This will take you to the order permit screen. All of this contact information can be changed if you need it changed. I'll select my permit type. Permit subtype is the duration. So I want a single trip. And then permit definition is the kind of permit I'm getting. So I'm getting an oversized, overweight single trip. The from box is my start date. The to box is my end date. I'll click next, and it takes me to my vehicle and load information screen. So starting at the top, this is your power unit line. This is your trailer line. This is your load description. Load parameters are the dimensions of the load itself. Overall parameters are your overall dimensions, and enter axle weights is where you'll enter your axle weights and spacing. When ordering a permit, if you have vehicles in your inventory, you can click the select button and choose them from here. and the fields will automatically populate with the information from the inventory. After I've entered all of my power unit information, I'll have to enter my trailer information as well. Please note that all of the vehicles in your inventory will display here. So if you don't see your trailers, they just might be down lower in the list. So once I select that, my fields are populated, and I'll finish completing that. The load description is where I'll type what I'm hauling. So if I'm hauling a crane, I'll put crane. If I have a serial number, I'll put in my serial number. If I do not, I'll just enter NA. Load parameters, once again, are the dimensions of the load itself. Just remember, you want to fill in all of the fields with your information as correctly as possible. So I have my width and my height, my length, and then I have my overall dimensions. If I had front or rear overhang, I would enter those here. And then now I need to enter my axle weight. I'll change my number of axles from 2 to 5. And then your spacings will go here. It's from the center of axle 1 to the center of axle 2. The weight on each axle, the number of tires you have, and then you can select your tread width and rim size. Once I have all my axle information entered, I can display the configuration by clicking this button, and it will give me a diagram from a side view, or if I select top, it gives me a bird's eye view of my diagram. I'll go ahead and click validate weights and close, and it brings me back to my vehicle and load screen. Once I have all of my fields completed, I'll click next, and I'll go to the enter the route screen. So on this screen, if you have a saved trip in the system, this is where you would load it. So you would select the trip that you want, and you would click load trip. And my origin populated with an intersection, and then my destination populated with the latitude and longitude, and I can click validate. Once my route has completed running, you'll see there is a green balloon at my origin, a red balloon at my destination. The little red lines on the map are restrictions in the system. I can hide those by clicking the restrictions button. If I wanted to see the bridges I crossed, I would select the cross bridges. I can change my map to be terrain, and I can also change it to satellite, and I can remove labels if I wanted to also. So I'm going to go ahead and go over all the options that we have for routing. You can select an address. That's where if you have the physical address and you know it, you can enter it here. Just keep in mind that the system routes on state maintained roads only. So if your address is not on a state maintained road, the system will ask you to select a point on the map or an intersection as close to that address as possible. Next is intersection. If there is an intersection that I know that I want to start at, I can select that and find intersection. When I click find intersection, it brings up my map. I went ahead and filled out Street 1 and Street 2 in the city, and when I click go, the map will zoom in on that intersection. If there's more than one option, number of bubbles will display. So I'll select the bubble that's going in the direction of travel I want to go. And I want to go this way. We'll drop down to the destination and go over the next two. Border crossing is a list of roads that have been pre-approved by ODOT where haulers can cross in and out of the state. If there is a road that you want to choose that is not on the list, that means it's not authorized for you to cross in and out of the state on that road. LatLong Map. If you know the latitude and longitude, you can type it in these fields. If you don't know it, but you can look on the map and point out where you want to go, just click find. And you can enter in a focus city. Once I enter my focus city and click go, the map zooms in on that city, and then I can select where I want to start. So we'll select this point right here. I'll click the select radio button and I'll click on the map, and the end of the trip box automatically populates with the selected latitude and longitude. Now I'm going to validate and run to get. Once my route is displayed, I can click on the map to drag it around. I can use the wheel on the mouse to zoom in. And you always want to review the route beginning to end. If you have a different route than the system generated one that you want to travel, you can change it with via points. You can enter in highway names. So if I wanted to change this to SR for State Route 613 to State Route 108, I would enter those road names in this section right here, and then I'll click validate and run. And the system is going to try to route me on those roads that I selected. And if you can look, you can see that my route has changed. The reason why the system didn't route me all the way up State Route 108 is because of this red line right here. That's a restriction. We can zoom in on it to find out what it is. So I click this radio button, get restriction for road, and then I click on the red part on the map, and then the restriction will display. If it is construction or a height or width restriction, it will say construction or height restriction. I can close that. Let's return to my enter the trip box. I removed the via highways and I reran the route without them. And you can see that it's changed again. If you don't know the highway names, you can select via points on the map. So you'll choose find on map, and then you'll click the select on map link. This displays the map. You can zoom in and you can select a point on the map. So if I still wanted to go to 108, I would click select and click here on the map. Return to my enter the trip box and validate and run the route again. You can see that the route has changed and it's now going the direction on the road that I selected. Another option for your origin and destination are Turnpike Gate. The entrances and exits are listed here. The system does not route on the turnpike itself because oversized overweight loads are not allowed on it, but you can select where you're entering the turnpike or exiting the turnpike. If this was a round trip permit that I wanted, I would just check the generate a round trip here, and I would validate and run the route again. And this time when the route runs, it's going to give me two lines, one for the return trip and one for the original trip. Underneath the map are the load dimensions I entered to use for this trip. There's a route description listed here. Any restrictions, railroad crossings are listed along with condensed turn-by-turn driving directions. I'm sorry, condensed driving directions. The turn-by-turn directions are listed below. And they also include your return trip. If my origin and destination were not what I wanted, or if I could not get the route that I wanted, there's a box here that I can check that says I have a problem with my route and I would like it reviewed. Anytime that you need to submit a permit to the permit office for review, you're going to want to check this box and you're going to enter notes for the permit office so they know what to do with your permit. So if I wanted to travel just on State Route 108, I would enter it here. And then once I submit my permit to the permit office, they can see that note and they will try to generate the requested route. And if they cannot, they will route it as close to that as possible. If this was a trip that I used often and the return as well, I could click the Save This Trip button. I can name it. And then I would click Save This Trip. So next time when I go to order a permit, that option will be in the Load Trip dropdown for me to select. And my return trip will be there as well as my via points that I've already selected. Once I have my route and I'm good with it, I can click Next. And this will load the permit fee summary screen. You always want to review this screen and make sure that all information is correct, including your fees. You can see that my dimensions are here, my turn-by-turn directions. If I like everything, I'll just click Submit. If my permit is within self-issue limits and there are no crawl bridges and I didn't have a problem with the route, I'll get a button that says Pay for Permits Now. If I did not want to pay for the permits now, I could order another permit, and this permit would go to my shopping cart. If I'm ready to pay for it now, though, I can click the button, and just like the shopping cart earlier, it takes me through the same payment process. I'll select my payment method, and I'll click Submit. Something to keep in mind if you are trying to process payment with a credit card and there is any kind of failure or timeout from the credit card processor, OHPS will lock your permit for 20 minutes to prevent duplicate payments. This means the permit's going to disappear from your dashboard, it's going to disappear from your shopping cart, but don't panic because in about 20 minutes it'll come right back for you to attempt payment again. And every time you attempt a payment, it's gonna get locked just to prevent duplicate payments. So once again, once my permit's issued, I can click on the link. I can open it up and print it. If I wanted to, I can return to the dashboard. And my permit that I just issued will be displayed there as well. Same thing, permit number link opens up the PDF. And we're gonna go view the permit details. So actions, select, view permit, takes me to my permit details. On my permit details screen, I have my permit number, my permit ID, my company name, and if this was issued by a permit service, it would list the permit service here as well. My permit type, my status, which is issued. If I would have set the start date for next Monday, then my status would be issued prior because I just issued it before the start date. If I wanted to rescind my permit by email, I would click this icon right here, and it automatically sends it to that email on file. If I have a different email I want to send it to, I can put it in here and go ahead and email it. My issue date, my start date is listed. The vehicle and load tab displays all my dimensions. Changes are actions that happen to the permit. So I started a new permit and I paid and issued the permit. PDFs and docs. Any documents that were uploaded with this application will be here. So if I had to upload a load diagram or a route survey form or a shipper's statement, it would be here as well. Or if I needed to upload it later, you could do that as well. You'll just choose your file, choose your document type, and click upload. If my permit was pending and the permit office requested this document, they would be able to pull it from the system without having to cancel the permit application. If I needed another copy of my permit PDF, I can click the open link and it opens up my permit PDF again. Fee items are the cost of my permit. If there were any special items like a serial number, it would be listed here. My payment is listed here with my date and the time. If there are any notes associated with my permit, like if I would have if I would have submitted it to the permit office, that note would be listed here for me to see. The route is here with the map and the turn-by-turn directions. Any conditions that printed on my permit, like the railroad crossings, will be listed here as well. And once again, OHPS doesn't use chat, so that will remain blank. I'll go ahead and hit home. And I'm back at the company dashboard. Things to keep in mind. The OHID holds your login for a certain amount of time, about an hour before it times out. So if I were to log out and go to the landing page and log back in as a customer, it brings me right back to my company dashboard. Normally it brings you right back to your company dashboard. My session probably timed out without me knowing. Also on the login screen, the login page, there are the OH tutorial videos. Don't forget, those can be kind of helpful when you need them. There is the user guide. If I did not have an OHID, or if an associate needed an OHID so I could set them up as a user, we can click this link and it'll take you there to take you through the steps to create one. Conditions and holiday notice will also be listed here. Any important news will pop up right here. Go ahead and go back to the dashboard. And that is a quick review of the system. If you have any questions, it's always good to refer back to the training material. Thank you, and you have a good day.